What up, guys? Hope everything's going well. Hope your holiday's treating you well. Okay, let's look at this topic that I've spoke about in the past about the gold standard and the petrodollar system. And before I get into this topic, I just want to mention, in the past, I always talked about, hey, we'd get all this inflation, potentially hyperinflation. But I thought about this topic and read a few articles, and what I've gathered at is that in the next 1 to 2 years, we're going to experience what mainstream economists call deflation, where you see a decrease in prices. My definition of inflation, deflation, a little different than what the mainstream economists talk about. I look at inflation as an increase in money supply and credit, or deflation, decrease in money supply and credit. But throw that out the window. Okay? We could look at what these guys on Wall Street are looking at. They're saying that, hey, we're going to get deflation. We're going to get a stronger dollar, lower commodity prices, and whatnot. In the short term, I agree. We're going to see these lower prices. But over time, what's going to end up happening is you're going to see all of these dollars offshore. They're going to come over here, and we're going to see a debasement of the dollar, right? After you see still some appreciation I see ahead in the US dollar index. Now I wanted to go into the topic I want to do a blog about, and it is the gold standard and the petrodollar system. A lot of individuals who like the gold standard, and I only like the gold standard if it doesn't have fractional reserve lending, but those individuals that say we need a gold standard want a gold standard because they don't want to see the debasement of the currency. They don't want to see lower living standards for the poor, the middle class, and whatnot. And what they're saying right now, hey, look, once we got off the gold standard, look at the inequality in our society. Look at the guys on Wall Street making a fortune while you see all these jobs going away for the middle class via automation, etc. Now, if you had interest rates at the market level, you had more of a free market economy, less regulations, rules, then you'd see the economy booming. You'd see the middle class with plenty more jobs than what they have right now. Now, if you want to look at the petrodollar system that we have right now, many people call it a fiat-based system that we have because Nixon took us off the gold standard in 1971. And he did take us off the gold standard. But if you look at what happened in 1971, we had this petrodollar system where there's a quid pro quo agreement with countries like Saudi Arabia where they would buy our debt and we would protect them militarily speaking. And this process has gone on for the past, 44, 45 years. And what's really important what happened in 1971 is that all of these commodities that you trade with, if you look at gold, silver, oil, you name it, everything on the CME, what are they denominated in? They're denominated in US dollars. That's really important. So some people may say that this petrodollar system, it really isn't fiat. A lot of guys on YouTube land say that, hey, we have a fiat-based system, and I've said this many times, that the dollar is backed by toxic assets held at the Federal Reserve. Well, if you look at it, this petrodollar system actually is based on a commodity-based system. Yet many of us don't seem to acknowledge it. This is just one person's opinion in terms of interpreting it. I'm not saying that everyone agrees with this. And that is, if you have this petrodollar system, right, everything is denominated in US dollars, right? We take our dollars and we buy the commodities and we send them off. And some of them may be sent offshore, right? Because this is a global economy. And if you look at it, what's quite interesting is that all of the inflation created, right now, or all the inflation going on, it's not really hitting the U.S. It is hitting the U.S. stock market. It is hitting some of these bond portfolios because you've seen all this money rush in there. So sure, we've had inflation. We've had inflation in the tuition market. We have inflation in when it comes to healthcare. No doubt about that. But if you want to look at outside the United States, that's where the main inflation is happening. The fractional reserve lending, the out of whack budget deficits. They're experiencing what a lot of YouTubers are talking about what happened in the United States, but it hasn't materialized in the United States. It has materialized in all parts of the third world, second world. And a lot of people are saying, like John Williams, that there's like $8 trillion of dollars overseas. What happens when it comes here to the United States? Well, once again, we are in a global-based economy. Two, if you look at the US dollar index, it's a basket of fiat-based currencies. So if you look at it, 57% of the dollar consists of the euro. The euro is most likely headed down. If you look at next in line, the Japanese yen, that's most likely headed lower because of Abenomics and the craziness that they're doing. So 57 plus 11, what, 68%? So somewhere around 70%, you have two currencies that are in the tank. And some people are saying the British pound is in the tank, another, what, 10%. So you're looking at close to 80% of the US dollar index where you have other currencies on the rise, while not on the rise, on the way down, and hence, what's going to happen to the dollar? De facto, it's just going to go higher. But eventually, over time, you are going to see, after maybe this sovereign debt crisis that happens in Europe, a lot of people have been talking about that. After that's done, what's going to end up happening? You're going to see economic growth that happen in the United States again. I mean, we have too many smart people in this country. We have many entrepreneurs that just want the government to get out of the way. Even though it won't get out of the way, they will do one good thing, and it is to cut taxes. Where the government messes up is they don't cut spending when they cut taxes. But hey, who knows? With Donald Trump as president, he's going to cut taxes, right? Whether you agree with Trump or not, I think that is one good idea he proposes, cutting taxes, getting rid of some rules and regulations for businesses, right? Even though I think he's going to increase rules and regulations as well. He's going to say, hey, look, I got rid of these ridiculous rules Obama made, but who knows? He may make more rules and regulations, just like Bush did. But let's get back on topic. Inflation, I think, will occur. And I think one of the ways that it will occur is after all of this liquidation of all this bad debt in Europe and in China. I think China is going to blow up as well in the next year or two. After you throw that out the window, the inflation will come back, right? Interest rates are on the way up. It's not going to go up in a straight line, right? But they're slowly but steadily headed higher. You see, the velocity money will pick up, in my opinion. When interest rates go up, you cut taxes. You try to be as business friendly as possible. Well, hopefully. But the cutting taxes will help, in my opinion. Cutting the corporate tax rate will help. And some people are talking about cutting the payroll tax. In my opinion, that is going to increase the velocity. That is going to create more inflation. And who knows? All those trillions of dollars overseas may come back here. And we may see the inflation going up. But I don't think it's going to go up to the extent of Myanmar or Zimbabwe or whatnot. And I think what saves us in the interim is the fact that we have this petrodollar system. Since everything is denominated in US dollars, right? We send the dollars abroad because we buy all these raw materials from these countries. So, in a way, our dollar, even though people will say it's backed by nothing, it's backed by toxic assets at the Federal Reserve, well, we still have this petrodollar system. As long as the petrodollar system is in place, I don't see the hyperinflation occurring. Now, if you get rid of this petrodollar system, then watch out. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see that happening. But this could take years. It could take decades for the petrodollar system to disappear. But who knows in the terms of geopolitics. anything is possible. But I just see that the United States will find a way to kick the can down the road, kick the can, until one day, maybe when we're no longer here on this planet, and then you'll see the hyperinflation, and then Peter Schiff will be right. But anyways, guys, thanks for listening. Share your comments below, and I'll do a few more videos before I have less free time. Alright, guys, thanks. Talk to you later. Bye.